Hi everybody, welcome to my yoga video. You might see a dog popping in or out. You'll see one right here. They like to join sometimes. We're going to get started with a comfortable seated position. As always, you can feel free to sit in a crisscross applesauce style. Maybe you sit up on a blanket if you have one accessible to you at home. This helps to lift the seat a little bit higher in the air, maybe make a seated position a little more comfortable for an extended seat. Otherwise, you can come into hero's pose, which I like to do to stretch out my ankles to start. So you can bring a block here between your shins and just gently sit back onto your heels. Maybe for you, that requires 2 blocks. If you're at home and you don't have blocks, you can grab a book, a nice thick hardcover book. Might work well as well. And as we always do, we'll land in our opening of our practice with a seated meditation. Sometimes we're laying on our back in heart bench or in another heart opening position. You can feel free to also take those positions if that's more comfortable for you in your day to be laying down. Wherever you land is perfect. Just like in all of our practice, we welcome you to make adjustments, change your seating, decide maybe that you want to take a child's pose for the rest of your practice. Beautiful thing about yoga is that it is your own practice. I'm here to guide you. All of my cues are simply offerings. So as we start to get settled into our seat here, maybe you just sway a little bit forward and back, side to side. Find that center position that feels comfortable for you. And maybe, depending on what's going on in your setting, maybe you might be comfortable enough to gently close your eyes, tune out what's going on outside, and simply turn into your own thoughts and feelings. If it's not comfortable for you to close your eyes, as always, you can simply gaze at a spot in front of you, keeping the eyelids soft. With our hands, we can place them on our thighs. We can cup them at our belly if that feels nice and supportive. We can place a hand on our chest and our belly to connect even more deeply with the breath. Check out what's feeling good to you today. It might be different from another day in your yoga practice. Just being really present to what is calling to you today. That's part of our mindful practice. To be alert and to tune in to our thoughts, to our body. And importantly, to be non-judgmental of them. It can be a hard charge sometimes. We're really thinking about how we tend to, as a society, label things good or bad. We're really tuning into our own truth as neither good nor bad. Maybe our aches, our pains, our more difficult emotions are just signals to us to be curious, to turn in a little bit, to ask ourselves what we need in a moment. And as we turn into our breath, just observing the natural inhales and exhales as they are with us at the moment. Without manipulation, maybe as you bring your attention to your breath, you'll naturally start to breathe a little more deeply. That's normal. Just finding a cadence that feels normal and comfortable to you. Maybe we observe the qualities of that breath. Maybe when you bring your attention, the quality of the breath seems a little more shallow than you expected. Maybe it's a little deeper. Maybe there's temperatures, warmth, and cold that you're observing. Maybe if your hand's on your chest and your belly, you might observe a lot more movement in one place than another. As we turn into our breath, maybe we start to deepen the inhales and deepen the exhales. Your exhales can be through your mouth or through your nose. Observing any sensation shifts as you deepen the inhales and deepen the exhales. Maybe you observe any associated thoughts or feelings that also arise as we turn in. Also aiming for a non-judgmental observation here. We are not our thoughts, we are not our feelings. They are not good nor bad. Maybe as we deepen the breath, we notice that deepening in the chest. We imagine the diaphragm muscle under our rib cage. Like any other muscle, it's helpful to exercise that muscle. When we inhale, the diaphragm moves down, allowing for more air in the rib cage area. When we exhale, the diaphragm moves up to help push the air out. So when we're doing this intentional breathing into our diaphragm, maybe we notice a little more movement in the belly. Maybe the belly moves in and out a little more than it. Quiet for a couple of breaths here so you can feel into that diaphragm breathing at your own pace. Beautiful. When you're ready, we'll begin to just return to our regular cadence of breath. Checking in with ourselves. How are we feeling here after this exercise? What are we noticing about ourselves and our experience of the space? Maybe it's a little different than it was when we started. Maybe it's the same. That's cool as well. As you return to your breath, I'm going to read a quote here. It's about receiving. How beautiful is the moonlight? Have you ever seen a full moon illuminate a lake or a forest? Even the full moon illuminating a cul-de-sac is gorgeous. Consider the fact that the moon isn't giving off light. It's receiving it from the sun. We all benefit from the moon's ability to receive. If you find it hard to take compliments, gifts, or a helping hand, look to the moon as your role model. The world deserves your moonbeams. So just an offering here. Think about what it means to receive in our day-to-day lives. Many of us often spend our days giving, whether it's giving to our family, to our friends, to our work, to hobbies that definitely nourish us. What does it look like to receive? What does it look like in our yoga practice to receive the beauty and the benefits of this time that we create for ourselves on our mats? As we take in that intention for our practice today, I will offer that as we bring some movement into our practice. You can feel free to open your eyes if that's more comfortable for you. You can keep them closed if you'd like. And also feel free to adjust your legs at this point if that's calling to you. On an inhale, we'll raise our arms up to the sky. Maybe we gaze up to the sky just for a beat, feeling a little movement on either side of our body. Nice, feeling that length from the tip of our fingers down to our seat. Nice, remembering to breathe throughout the practice. Deep inhale and exhale. We'll bring the palms together. We'll bring our hands to heart center. We'll bow down towards our fingertips. And we'll set an intention for the practice today. Your intention can be a person, a place, a thing. You can finish the sentence, I am here because, or you can simply state, I am here. Beautiful. On the next inhale, we're going to bring our arms back up to the sky. On an exhale, we'll bring our arms down to our sides. And we'll just continue this movement, inhaling up, exhaling down, really practicing letting the breath direct the movement as it does in our yoga practice. Oxygen energizes our cells. Beautiful. I'm going to adjust my legs here. And feel free to continue in that movement. Inhaling up. Exhaling, arms down to the side. Inhale up. Exhale down. This time we'll pause here with our arms at our sides. We'll do some neck stretches to start. So our right ear will come to our right shoulder. I'll mirror you here. And then the head goes forward to the opposite shoulder. Continuing in those movements at your own pace. We spend a lot of times, most of us, at our computers or on our phones, straining our necks in various ways. So just taking a minute to show your neck some love gently. If you roll the neck back, just being really gentle because of our vertebrae back there. We don't want to crunch them. So just moving slowly through that backwards movement if you choose to. As with all of our yoga moves and practices, I will try to give alternative movements. But if anything ever feels uncomfortable, discomforting, you can always feel free to take a beat. Nice. And from here, we will grab for the side of our head with our hand. Nice. And extend the opposite arm down. And we'll pause here, feeling that stretch on the side of the neck. Pausing here to feel the length. Nice. If you feel like you have a little more stretch in you can extend that hand a little further away. Nice. Pausing here. Beautiful. We'll gently release that side, bringing our hand, opposite hand to the head. Nice. And again, pausing here to just feel this out. How's this feeling in your neck? Maybe this is great and you stay here. Maybe you bring the hand a little further away from you. Beautiful. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And when we're ready, we'll come back to center. And on an inhale, our arms will come back up to the sky. We'll bend our right elbow, grabbing it with our left hand. And we'll just gently open up across the shoulders. We're early in our practice, so just being really gentle, maybe sway side to side. Nice. Inhaling and exhaling. Trying to maintain length in the back, not hunching over too much. But again, we're early in our practice, so just feel out what your body is doing today. Nice. And then when you're ready, we'll switch sides. Feel out what this side is feeling like. For me, there's a little freakiness in the right shoulder, so I'm not going to open up across the shoulders as much as I did last time. We're not perfectly symmetrical, so feel that out in your body. Beautiful. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. And when you're ready, we'll unravel the hands. Beautiful. We'll shake it out as feels good. On an inhale, the arms will come back up to the sky. On an exhale, we'll round the back, empty the belly like we're holding a big balloon in front of us. And then we'll bring our arms around us and we'll sway. Maybe we make big circles. Maybe we make little circles. Maybe we sway forward and back. Maybe in this movement, you close your eyes and really turn inward to the swaying and rocking motion that sometimes people find some relief in. It's your movement. Let's take 2 more rounds wherever you are. Nice. We'll come back to center again. On an inhale, our arms will come up to the sky. On an exhale, we're holding that ball in front of us again, rounding our back. Switch sides. So whatever arm was on top last time goes on bottom. And again, you can close your eyes and feel into this movement. Maybe they're big movements. Maybe they're small movements. Really receiving the nourishing aspects of these rocking motions. Swaying as one of the ways we can somatically help to regulate the system. Nice. And when you're done, we'll bring our arms in the sky on an inhale. On an exhale, we'll twist over to the right side. We'll pause here. And when we're twisting here, maybe on an inhale, we find a little more length in our back. And maybe on the exhale is when we gaze over our left shoulder or our right shoulder, depending on what side you're on. Nice. On an inhale, finding length. On an exhale, finding that twist. Beautiful. On the inhale, we come back up to center. And on an exhale, we twist over to whatever is the opposite side for you. Maybe we cup our hands behind us to help facilitate that length in our spine. Nice. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. Gazing over your shoulder is not accessible to you. It's not a must, so just gaze over to a spot that's comfortable in your neck. One more deep breath here. Beautiful. We'll come back to center. Arms can come up to the side and we'll release them down. Beautiful. From here, we're going to come into our tabletop hands and knees position to warm up our spines. As usual, you can do some housekeeping here and just bring your blocks to the top of your mat so that they're accessible to you as we get into some flowing movements. And in my space here, I have a nice rug underneath my mat. I can also add a blanket layer here under the knees that helps support your knees. And we'll just check in when we get into our tabletop position, just checking that our hips are stacked with our knees. Your wrists can be stacked under your shoulders, or they can be a little further forward if it's uncomfortable for you to have a lot of pressure in your shoulders, in your wrists. And we're going to spread our fingers nice and wide. And what I like to do in these positions is actually turn my hands out so that your index fingers are pointing towards top corners of the mat. What this does, it helps open up across the shoulder. You see, when I do this, my shoulders are opening up, as opposed to when I do this, my shoulders are turning in. And this becomes super helpful also in a downward dog position. So we're going to drop our bellies and gaze up to the sky. And on an exhale, we're going to push the ground away. Round your back, empty your belly for our cat-cow positions. Inhaling up. Exhaling round. Nice. I like to tuck and untuck my toes sometimes just to get some movement into the bottoms of the feet. Beautiful. Continuing in this movement at your own pace, letting the breath really guide the movement here. Checking in with the fingers. Are they spread wide? Are the knuckles planted? Beautiful. We'll stop there on a flat back and just find any movement that feels good to you. Maybe you sway forward and back. Maybe you make circles with your hips. Just turning in and tuning in to what's feeling good. for you. And when you're ready, we'll bring our hips back to our heels for a grounding child's pose. Nice. In our child's pose, we can have our knees pointing to the long edges of the mat, and then our belly kind of falls in between the thighs. Or we can bring our knees together, and then the belly is falling towards on top of the thighs. Feel out what your body is really wanting you to do today. When you land in your child's pose, really allowing the body to melt into the ground. Pausing here for a few beats. Nice. On an inhale, we'll bring our hands over to the right side. And when we do this, our left hip might come up in the sky. Just grounding it down in space if you can. Otherwise, you can do that in your mind's eye, just visualizing that hip coming down towards the heel. Nice. Taking 2 deep breaths here. 2 deep inhales. 2 deep exhales. When you're ready, on the next inhale, we'll bring the hands to center, and then we'll move them to the opposite side. As we come over to this side, you might see your right hip, or the opposite hip, just coming up in space. See if you can guide it down. Nice. Breathing here. If at any point it's more comfortable for your head, you can always bring a block under your head as well. This might prevent any straining in the neck. Nice. On the next inhale, we'll come back to center. Come back to our tabletop, hands and knees, and we'll move through a few transitional cat-cows. Maybe when you push the ground away on the exhale, your knees come off the mat. Maybe they don't. That is cool as well. Nice. We'll meet in a flat back position, really finding our stability. On an inhale, we'll raise our right hand up to the sky. On an exhale, we'll bring that hand underneath the left hand or thread the needle. Breathing there, we'll come back to our tabletop. And we'll just do the opposite side. On an inhale, our arm will come up to the sky. On an exhale, comes under the opposite arm. You can keep your right hand close to your face. You can extend it long, or maybe you bring it behind you for a bind. Nice, whatever feels good in your body. Breathing here, 2 more breaths. Beautiful. Bring the hands back to our tabletop. We're going to actually come to our belly, so you can just bring your body forward. Nice. Planting, legs straight. We're going to come into a sphinx, a nice gentle back bend here. So our forearms are parallel, and we're just going to gaze forward in space. Really finding that length from the crown of the head to the toes. Nice if you can extend the legs long here, activating the legs so the quads are coming up away from the knees. Beautiful. And when you're ready, on an inhale, we'll just tuck the toes, push our hips back. Maybe we come into a puppy pose here. Arms are extended long. Nice. And then we'll push our hands back into our tabletop, and then push our hips back into our child's pose. Take a few deep breaths in our child's pose. And when you're ready, we'll come back into our tabletop position. We're going to shoot our right foot back in space. Nice. So that foot is still planted on the ground. We're finding length in that leg. When we bring our foot back in space, our hips tend to get misaligned as well. So see if you can bring your hips parallel to the ground. Nice. Pushing that back heel towards the back of the room. Nice. Finding the length in your spine and your neck. On an inhale, we're going to lift our left hand up as though we're shaking somebody's hand. And then on the next inhale, we'll bring the leg off of the ground. Nice. We're just going to hold this position, breathing here, deep inhales, deep exhales. If this is too much for you, you can always plant your foot back down. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Let's take one more deep breath here. Deep inhale. Exhale, we'll release the hand down, release the foot down, come back into our tabletop. We'll take some transitional cat-cow movements. Nice. If ever you need a break from weights in your wrists, you can also try out putting your hands in fists. Check out how that feels in your body. It might feel better, it might not feel better. Yogi's choice. Nice. We're going to come back into our flat back position here. We're going to shoot the opposite leg back in space. Nice. Just feeling that length in the back leg. You might need to shimmy your hands back a little to align the shoulders on top of the wrists. Nice. Again, finding that length in the leg and strength in that leg. Activating the leg. On an inhale, we're going to bring the leg up in space. Nice. And then the arm. Sorry, opposite arm. Breathing here. Deep inhale. Deep exhale. Deep inhale. Hips are parallel with the ground. Deep exhale. One more deep breath. Deep inhale. Exhale. Release the hand down. Release the knee down. You can push our hips back into a grounding child's pose. Receiving the grounding and rest of this pose. Maybe you bring your arms along your sides if that feels good. To give yourself a hug. Maybe you want to bring your hands in a prayer position behind your head. When you're ready, we'll push back into our tabletop hands and knees. We're going to come into our first downward dog of the practice. So we can do this through bent knees. We'll tuck our toes and push our hips up and back in space. Nice. Maybe we pedal out our feet here. Taking a peek at our hands, our fingers planted, our knuckles spread wide. Beautiful. The goal of our downward dog is really get our hips up in space, so maybe we bend our knees a little to start and then straighten them. Nice. On an inhale, we'll step slowly forward to the top of our mat. You can do any housekeeping you need to, bringing the blocks back. Tongue twister. You can get our blankets maybe out of our way. And we'll land in this ragdoll position, hanging over our legs at the top of our mat. Nice. Maybe we grab opposite elbows. Maybe we plant our hands under our feet. You can always have a little bend in your knee, or maybe you need a more significant bend in your knee in this position. Every body is different. Every body is different. So do what works for you. Maybe we sway a little from side to side. Maybe we nod yes and no. Beautiful. Your hands are elsewhere. We can just let them hang as we come up slowly, inch by inch, into our mountain pose, Tadasana. So for our mountain pose, we really think about planting all three corners of our feet as we do with our hands. Maybe we even spread our toes wide to plant them. Hands are at our sides. Head stacked over heart, heart stacked over hips. Nice. And really finding this grounding in the earth, the support of the earth. From the top of your crown down through the rooting of your feet in the ground. Maybe like me, you naturally tend to scrunch your shoulders up towards your earrings, towards your ears and your earrings. You can guide them down, back. Nice. Take a breath. Maybe imagine on the inhale the breath coming into the body, through the lungs, down, rooting towards the ground. Nice. Exhale. Beautiful. On an inhale, our arms will come up to the sky. We're going to bring our palms together. Hands come through heart center. Beautiful. Let's do that again. Arms up in the sky. Palms together. Hands through heart center. Nice. This time we're going to do arms up in the sky. We're going to do palms together. We're going to keep them together in a volcano pose at the top of your mat. Really reaching up to the sky. Maybe you gaze up the sky as well. Nice. On the exhale, we'll bring the hands through center. Then down. Nice. Inhaling, arms up. Pausing at the top, palms are together, volcano pose. Nice. Exhale, hands down. Palms come through heart center. Arms are at our side. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhaling the arms up. Palms come together. Hands come through heart center. Nice. Arms come down. 1 more. Inhale up. Palms come through heart center. Exhale down. Nice, everybody. Just shake it out for a minute. Anything's feeling tense in your body. We're going to move through some sun salutation flows. On an inhale, the arms are going to come up to the sky. On an exhale, we're going to fold forward. Look forward through a flat back. And then we're going to exhale, plant our hands. You're going to move through your vinyasa flow. For those who like to walk through it with me, I'll step through it here. You step 1 foot back, then the other. We'll land in a plank pose for 1 beat, finding that strength in the legs. We're going to drop to a half plank. Untuck the toes. We're going to keep the biceps close to our upper body as we bring our upper body down. Nice. We're going to come into maybe a baby cobra, maybe a higher cobra, and then we'll tuck our toes, pushing ourselves back into our downward dog. Nice. We'll pedal out our dog here. Maybe we shake our head yes and no in our downward dog. Nice. Fingers are spread wide. Knuckles are planted. On an inhale, we're going to step our right foot forward. Nice. We're going to drop our left knee down. My blocks are not on top of my mat anymore, so I'm going to bring them up here. We can plant our hand maybe on the lowest setting, left hand, and then our right hand is going to come up in space for a twist. Nice. Taking a peek at your knee and your ankle, making sure the knee is stacked over the ankle. If this is too much pressure on your shoulders, you can always put your hand on your hip, and that still allows you to open up across the shoulders. Nice. When you're ready, we'll drop that hand back down, maybe on a block again at its lowest setting. We're going to shimmy the right foot forward. I always say there's not a super elegant way to do this. Nice. And we'll have our blocks handy, maybe at the highest setting this time. We're going to start just with finding that length in our back, leading with our chin. And then we're going to pour over that leg. Maybe we bring the block to a lower setting. Just feeling whatever support you need here to bring your upper body towards your legs, but not scrunching over too much. Beautiful. Really breathing into the back of the leg there. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. Nice, everybody. Let's take 2 more breaths on this side. Bend into that front knee. Shimmy that foot back. Beautiful. We're going to come into a crescent so we can tuck our back toe, lifting that leg off of the mat, finding it really strong, pushing that heel backwards as we did earlier. To come to crescent, you can do it in one swoop if that's in your practice, or you can first come to a knee and then bring your arms up to the sky. Nice. Maybe you land here, aiming to get the biceps closer to the ears. Maybe you decide you want to bring your palms together, hand at heart center. That's beautiful as well. Maybe you find a little more bend in your front knee, wherever you're at. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Nice. Deep inhale. On the exhale, we'll open up into Warrior Two. In our Warrior Two position, we might notice that our front knee moves in towards center. Gently guide it out. You look down, your knees will stack with your toes. Beautiful. Arms are parallel with the ground. Again, if there's something not feeling so great in your shoulders, you can always place your hands on your hips. Beautiful. Once you've found your stability here, imagine somebody tugs on your back hand to bring your upper body back. We're trying to stack our shoulders and our hips. We tend to move forward like this when we're in Warrior Two. So just make that slight adjustment here. Nice. Maybe you pause here. Maybe you find a little extra bend in the front knee. Beautiful work. From here, we'll flip the front palm up. We'll bring that hand back in space. Left hand can graze the back of the leg for a peaceful warrior. Take 2 deep breaths here. Nice. We'll find ourselves back in a Warrior Two. We'll windmill our hands down. We'll frame the front foot. We're going to move through vinyasa, or you can go straight to a rounding child's pose. We'll step that foot back. Find ourselves in a nice strong plank, dropping the knees for half plank, untucking the toes. Biceps come close to our chest. Upper body down. Cobra. Larger cobra. And we can just push our hips back into a grounding child's pose. Nice. Take an orientation in child's pose that feels good to you. You can keep your arms pointing forward. You can bring them long next to you, or you can bring them in prayer behind your head. See if you can melt your body even more into the ground. If not in actual physical space, maybe energetically, maybe visually in your mind's eye. Beautiful. When you're ready, push back into our downward facing dog. Pedaling out the feet. Maybe bending the knees, then straightening them. When you're ready, we're going to step the left foot forward. Again, you can have your blocks handy to drop the right knee down. Checking in with that front leg. Is your knee stacked over your ankle? Nice. When you find an orientation that feels good in your hands, on an inhale, we'll bring the opposite hand up in the sky. Nice. Again, if this is too much in your shoulder, you're welcome to place your hand on your hip and open up across the shoulder. Nice. Deep inhales. Exhales. Let's take 2 more deep breaths on this side. And when you're ready, we'll plant that hand. Maybe you bring your blocks up 1 notch, and you'll shimmy that front foot. Nice and straight on the heel. Nice, finding length to start. Leading with the chin. And then we'll pour over the leg. Maybe bringing your block down 1 notch. Maybe 2 notches. Maybe you don't need a block. Just feeling out what's going on this side. It won't be the same as the other. Breathing into the back of the leg. Beautiful. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then we'll shimmy that foot back. Nice work. We're going to come into crescent. So again, we'll tuck the toe, bringing the back leg off of the ground, finding our grounding, activating into that back leg. We'll bring our arms up in the sky. Nice. Really planting into that front foot. Maybe your hands come in prayer in front of our chest here. If they stay up in the sky, see if you can find more length in your arms. See if you can glide the shoulders down as well. Biceps close to the ears. Nice. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. On the next inhale, we'll open up into warrior 2. On this side. Nice. Gazing over that front hand. Maybe we tuck our upper body back a tad to stack the shoulders and the hips. Maybe we bend into that front knee a little more. Beautiful, everybody. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. We'll flip that front palm over. Hand points to the back of the room for a peaceful warrior. Deep inhales. Deep exhales. Nice. We'll come back into our warrior 2. We'll windmill our hands down, framing the front foot, turning the back foot forward. We'll step back into a nice strong plank, bringing the knees down, untucking the toes. Upper body comes down. Baby cobra, bigger cobra. We'll push back into a grounding child's pose. Let's take 3 deep breaths in our child's pose. Maybe we bring our attention to our belly as it rises and falls. Beautiful. We'll come back into our downward dog here. Nice. Deep inhale. On an exhale, we'll step forward. We'll hang out in our ragdoll for a few beats. And maybe we sway, slowly standing up, inch by inch. Taking our time. Head comes up last. Beautiful work, everybody. We're going to come into Trikonasana, tree pose. And so we can start with our hands on our hips. Our right foot, I'll mirror you, can come into, our right heel comes into our ankle. Nice. Finding that stability in our grounded foot. We also tend to have our hips a little uneven in this position. So see if you can bring the belly button into the spine, activate the core, and even out the hips here. Nice. You might land here with your feet, which is perfect. Or you can bring your foot underneath your knee. Or you can bring your foot over your knee. Anywhere but on the knee. Nice. Then we decide, once we root into the ground, strong roots, we may decide what we want to do with our branches. Maybe they splay out high or low. Wherever you land is a beautiful tree. Maybe you gaze at a spot in front of you that's not moving. Deep inhales. Exhales. And on an inhale, our arms will come back up to the sky. On an exhale, hands to heart center. Beautiful. We'll release our tree here. Shake it out. Nice. We're going to go over to the other side. So our left ankle comes into our our left heel comes into our opposite ankle. Whatever foot you were on last, just switch it up. Feel out what's going on in this side. evening out the hips. Maybe you want to do the same thing you did on the other side. Maybe you want to do something different. Feel it out. Once you're rooted into your tree, you can decide where the arms go. Nice. See if you can take up even more space in your tree here, maybe with your arms, maybe energetically, perceiving the beauty of this tree, its groundedness. Nice. One more deep breath. On the exhale, we'll release it all down. Nice. We'll shake it out. Take any movements that feel good. And when you're ready, we are going to meet on our mats, on our backs. You can feel free to get there in whatever way works well for you. Nice. When we land on our backs, we can decide. Take any movements that feel good. Maybe you sway from side to side. Maybe you bring your knees gently towards your chest, rolling gently forward and back. Maybe we take a big good morning stretch. Beautiful. From here, we're going to take a figure 4 position. To give the hips some love, the right ankle will come over the left knee, pointing the toes towards the knee. Maybe we pause here, guiding that right hip away from us gently, the right leg away from us. Hi, Jiggy. Maybe we grab behind the leg, straightening the left leg up in the sky. Maybe we grab around left shin for the deepest stretch here. Releasing whatever we need to release from the hips. Receiving whatever we want to receive. Nice. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here. And when you're ready, if the feet are in the air, we will plant them. Plant both feet. We can windshield wiper the knees from side to side. And we'll come over to the other side. Left ankle comes to right knee. Toes are pointing towards the knee. Nice. Maybe this time you stay planted. Maybe you bring the foot up in the sky, grabbing around the leg. Maybe you grab around the shin. Nice. Breathing into the hip. Beautiful. Let's take 2 more breaths. Bring the foot down, unravel here, windshield wiper. Let's take a happy baby. So we'll bring our knees towards our chest. Feet are pointing towards the ceiling. We'll grab from the insides of our feet and just sway from side to side. Gently. As happy babies do. Nice. And from here, we'll plant the feet down. Beautiful. Take any movements that feel good to you. I like to knock the knees together. Feet come to the long edges of the mat. Take a breather here. Have a block handy for our next 2 asanas. So we're going to take a reclined twist. If you'd like, you could place a block between the thighs and simply let the knees fall over the right side. You can bring your hands into a goalpost arms if that feels good, or you can bring them into a T. If you'd like, you can also cross the left leg over the right and drop the knees down. Maybe you gaze up in the sky, maybe you gaze over the opposite shoulder. Nice, and then we'll come back to center. Switching sides, you can place a block between the knees, the thighs, dropping the knees over to the left side. Beautiful, you can gaze over the right arm, shoulder. Continue gazing up to the sky. Take 2 more deep breaths here. When you're ready, we'll come back to center, planting the feet. You're going to grab a block to take an inversion of waterfall, or you can take another inversion of your choice if you'd like. Placing the block under our sacrum here, we'll bring one leg up to the sky, then the other. Arms also can come in the sky as well. That feels good. And just cherishing on this reversal, the flow of blood flow. We spend most of our days in the other orientation, bringing the blood and the oxygen and the energy towards our heart. Really taking your time, staying in your inversion as long as it feels good to you. Otherwise, when you're ready, you can plant your hands, plant your feet, remove any blocks, take any final movements that feel good to you. Before Shavasana, the final resting pose. A pose that integrates all of our movements, our intentions for our practice. When you're ready for Shavasana, you can also place any layers on top of you that feel good. For example, you can place a block on your belly that feels supportive. A blanket on your belly, you can place blocks under your knees. Arms are at our sides, legs are long. If it feels more comfortable in your lower back, you can also plant your feet when you need to rest in this final resting pose. Start to deepen your breaths, deepening the inhales. Feeling the exhales, feeling the energy return to our bodies as we awaken from that final resting pose. Maybe we wiggle our fingers and toes, bringing movement to our ankles and wrists. When you're ready, you can plant your feet on the mat. Rolling over to the right side, we'll bring our knees a little closer to our chest, maybe cradling your head in your arms. We'll take a pause here to show gratitude to those who came before us, to gift us with the beautiful yoga practice. You're ready, you can push into your hands, gently come into a comfortable seated position. It might be the one you started with, it might be a different one. And when you're settled, we'll simply bring our palms together, hands will come to heart center, we can bow down towards our fingertips. We'll seal the practice today with 2 deep breaths, beginning with an exhale to release the breath. Do one deep inhale, deep exhale, deep inhale, deep exhale. Thank you for sharing your practice with me today. The light in me honors and cherishes the light in you. Namaste.